My name is Alex, and I thought I had the coolest summer job ever. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. It was a place filled with laughter, pizza, and games. The kids loved it. I loved it. But that was during the day. Tonight was different. It was my very first night shift. My manager, a tired-looking man named Mr. Graves, handed me a heavy ring of keys. He pointed to the big stage where the animatronic band, Munch's Make-Believe Band, stood frozen in their poses. "Just make sure everything is clean for the morning," he said, his voice low and serious. "And whatever you do, don't pay any attention to the noises. The old building just likes to settle." He left, and the heavy door clicked shut behind him, leaving me all alone. The silence was the first thing that hit me. It was a heavy, thick silence that seemed to press in on me from all sides. During the day, the restaurant was a symphony of chaos. Kids screaming, arcade games beeping and buzzing, and the loud, cheerful music from the animatronic band. But now there was nothing. Just the low hum of the refrigerators and the occasional creak of the building. I grabbed my cleaning cart and started in the main dining area. The empty tables and brightly colored chairs looked like ghosts in the dim security lighting. Every little sound made me jump. Was that a footstep? No, just the ice machine. I told myself to stop being silly. It was just an empty restaurant. Or was it? I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I would be wiping down a table, and the hairs on the back of my neck would stand up. I'd spin around, expecting to see someone standing there, but there was never anyone. Only the animatronics on the stage, Chuck E. Cheese with his wide, plastic smile, Helen Henny clutching her microphone, and Mr. Munch, the purple monster, staring straight ahead with glassy, unblinking eyes. Their painted-on smiles seemed less friendly in the dark. They looked hungry. I tried to ignore them, focusing on the sticky spots of spilled soda on the floor. But my eyes kept darting back to the stage, to those frozen figures watching me from the shadows. My heart pounded in my chest like a drum. I scrubbed a table with extra force, trying to distract myself from the growing fear. The restaurant, once a place of joy, now felt like a giant trap. The colorful murals on the walls seemed to twist and warp in the low light, their happy characters looking sinister. The ball pit, usually a sea of rainbow plastic, was a dark, gaping mouth in the corner of the room. I kept telling myself it was all in my head. I was just tired. It was my first night shift, and I was letting my imagination run away with me. But a small voice in my head, a little whisper of dread, told me something was very, very wrong, and I was about to find out just how wrong it was. I had just finished cleaning the last of the tables when I heard it. A single, tinny note of music. It was faint, like it was coming from far away. I froze, my hand still holding a damp cleaning rag. I listened, holding my breath. There it was again, a slow, creepy version of the Chuck E. Cheese theme song, played on a piano that sounded horribly out of tune. It wasn't coming from the main speakers. It seemed to be coming from the stage itself. I slowly turned my head, my eyes wide with terror. Chuck E. Cheese's head was moving. It swiveled on its mechanical neck, its big, glassy eyes seeming to scan the empty room. Then its head stopped, and its eyes locked directly onto me. My blood ran cold. This couldn't be happening. The animatronics were turned off. Mr. Graves had shown me the main power switch himself. I had seen him flip it. Yet here was Chuck E. moving as if the show had just started. Then another one moved. Helen Henny slowly lifted her microphone to her beak, her head tilting from side to side. Mr. Munch's giant purple eyelids blinked open and shut, a slow, deliberate clack, 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 echoing in the silent restaurant. The creepy, out-of-tune music grew a little louder, a twisted lullaby in the darkness. My mind screamed at me to run, to get out of there, but my feet were glued to the floor, stuck fast by pure, undiluted fear. I had to be dreaming. This had to be a nightmare. I pinched my arm hard. The sharp sting of pain told me I was wide awake. This was real. The animatronics were moving on their own. The happy theme song, now a slow, distorted dirge, seemed to mock my terror. Chuck E. Cheese's mechanical hand, the one that usually waved to the kids, slowly lifted and pointed. It pointed right at me. A low, gravelly sound, like grinding gears and static, came from its speaker. It almost sounded like it was trying to whisper my name. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. My throat was tight and my lungs felt like they were filled with ice water. I finally found the strength to move. I stumbled backward, knocking over my cleaning cart with a loud crash that echoed through the empty space. The sound seemed to break the spell. The music stopped abruptly. The animatronics froze, returning to their original positions. Chucky's arm dropped back to his side. Helen's microphone lowered. Mr. Munch's eyes were wide and staring again. For a moment, there was complete silence. I stood there, panting, my heart hammering against my ribs. Maybe it was just a power surge, a glitch in the system. A tiny flicker of hope ignited within me, but it was quickly extinguished. Because that's when I heard the soft, unmistakable sound of a heavy footstep stepping off the stage. I didn't wait to see which one of them it was. I just ran. I scrambled away from the dining area, my sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. I ducked behind the counter of the prize area, my back pressed against the glass case filled with cheap toys and stuffed animals. I peered over the edge, my eyes scanning the darkness. Nothing. The stage was empty. Wait, not empty. Helen and Mr. Munch were still there, frozen in place. But the main spot, the center of the stage, was vacant. Chuck E. Cheese was gone. My breath hitched in my throat. Where did he go? The silence was somehow worse now, filled with the terrifying possibility of what was hiding in the shadows. I could hear it now. A slow, heavy shuffling sound. Scrape, drag, scrape, drag. It was the sound of fabric-covered feet dragging across the checkered floor. It was coming from the arcade section. I needed to hide, and I needed to do it now. I crawled on my hands and knees, staying low to the ground. I squeezed myself into the tight space behind the skee-ball machines, pulling my knees to my chest and trying to make myself as small as possible. The air back here was thick with the smell of dust and old popcorn. From my hiding spot, I could see slivers of the arcade between the machines. The games were all dark and silent, their screens like black mirrors reflecting the dim light. The shuffling sound got closer. Scrape, drag. It was right outside my hiding spot. I held my breath, praying it wouldn't find me. Through a crack between two machines, I saw him. Chuck E. Cheese, his giant mascot head tilting unnaturally from side to side as he walked. His happy, painted-on smile looked like a terrifying sneer in the darkness. His big fuzzy hands hung limply at his sides. He stopped right in front of the skee-ball machines, his head slowly scanning the area. His glassy eyes seemed to stare right through the machine and into my soul. I squeezed my own eyes shut, thinking that if I couldn't see him, he couldn't see me. It was a silly, childish thought, but it was all I had. Then, the arcade came to life. Not all at once, but one by one. A racing game flickered on, its screen showing a car crashing over and over again, but with no sound. The claw machine lit up, its metal claw dropping and rising, dropping and rising. Empty every time. A cacophony of silent, moving images surrounded the shuffling animatronic. He was no longer just wandering. He was searching. He was playing a twisted game of hide and seek, and I was the prize. I knew I couldn't stay here. He was getting too close. I had to find a new hiding spot. I had to get to the exit. I had to survive until morning. Taking a deep, shaky breath, I waited for the animatronic to shuffle past my hiding place. The second his back was turned, I bolted. I ran as fast as I could, my feet pounding against the floor. I didn't head for the main exit. It was too far, and he was too close. Instead, I ducked into the kitchen. I slammed the heavy, swinging doors shut behind me and fumbled for the lock. My hands were shaking so badly it took me 3 tries to slide the bolt into place. I leaned against the door, panting, listening. I could hear the slow scrape, drag stop right outside. Then a soft, rhythmic thump, thump, thump against the door. He knew where I was. The kitchen was my fortress, but it felt more like a cage. The stainless steel counters gleamed coldly under the fluorescent lights. I was trapped. The thumping on the door continued, steady and patient. I knew that lock wouldn't hold forever. I looked around desperately for another way out. There was a back door, a heavy steel one used for deliveries. I rushed to it, my heart leaping with hope. I grabbed the handle and pushed. Locked. Of course it was locked. I needed a key, and the keys were in my jacket, which I had left by the prize counter. I was well and truly trapped. The thumping stopped. I held my breath, listening. A creak came from the ceiling. He was on the roof. Panic set in. I was a mouse in a box, and the cat was trying to find a way in. I backed away from the doors, grabbing the heaviest frying pan I could find. It wasn't much, but it made me feel a little less helpless. I stood in the center of the kitchen, turning in circles, my eyes darting from the doors to the ceiling vents. Every clank of the ice machine, every hum of the freezer sounded like him. Hours seemed to crawl by, each second stretching into an eternity of terror. I didn't dare move. I just stood there, waiting for the inevitable moment when he would break through and find me. I was so scared, but a tiny part of me got angry. I wasn't going to let this monster get me. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, I saw it. A thin, pale beam of light shining through the small, grimy window of the back door. Sunrise. The first light of dawn was breaking. As the light grew stronger, I heard a strange whining sound from outside, like a machine powering down. The scary noises stopped. Complete silence returned. After waiting for what felt like an eternity, I cautiously unbolted the kitchen door and peeked out. The restaurant was empty. Chuck E. Cheese was back on stage with the others, frozen in his happy pose. I didn't wait. I ran, burst through the front doors, and didn't stop running until the sun was fully in the sky. I never went back, and I will tell you this. If you ever get a job at Chuck E. Cheese, listen to your gut. Never, ever take the night shift. Bravery isn't about not being scared. It's about being terrified and still finding the strength to run for the morning light.